What's happening, guys? I'm TechSource, and today we're gonna have fun building a gaming PC. It's been a while since I've done a themed build. In fact, the last one I did was back in April 2019, which was the Razer build, so it's been a fat minute. Also, when I'm done building this, I'm gonna give it away to one lucky subscriber. So with that said, let's begin. The Corsair A500 high-performance CPU cooler comes equipped with two ML120 fans and has 4 direct contact copper heat pipes to cool your CPU up to 250 watt TDP. The intuitive slide and lock fan mount system allows for variable mounting height for wide DRAM compatibility and easy installation. To learn more, click the link below. So the theme of the build, in case you guys haven't noticed already, is gonna be BROLY, the legendary Super Saiyan. Growing up, I was and still am a massive Dragon Ball fan, so I thought, why not build a PC with a BROLY theme? I do want to put a disclaimer out there that this is not a value PC whatsoever. You're not getting any bang for your buck here, and I don't recommend anyone building this PC with the exact same parts. This is only done for aesthetics, which you guys will see very soon. Okay, with that said, let's talk about the color scheme real quick. So BROLY has a lot of green colors, right? We got his hair in Super Saiyan form, that fur pelt around his waist, and of course we can't forget the color of his ki, which is also green. The reason I decided to pair that with white is because white brings out the colors the best. I wanted white to be the foundation of the color scheme of this build. White is color neutral, and it actually works really well when you pair it with other colors. As you guys can tell, it makes the green on these cables pop. It looks really dope, and it's gonna work really well, especially with the lighting inside the case. So that is why I decided to pair it with white. However, I can't ignore BROLY's pants, which are purple. So instead of introducing a third solid color, I thought the best way to showcase the purple was through the lighting. So any RGB lighting, whether it's from the cooler or from the GPU, is gonna be set to purple to kind of complete the color scheme. If you must know the price of the PC, it's a little over $1,800, and one lucky subscriber gets to take this baby home. We also have some paint and white vinyl, which we're gonna use to modify some parts of the case and the components. And we're actually missing a few finishing touches, which hopefully will be here by the time we finish the build. But I think I've done enough talking. Let's begin. All right, so the CPU we are using is the i5-9400F. This is the same CPU we used back in the sexy gaming PC back in July, I believe. It's got 6 cores and 6 threads. It offers pretty good gaming performance, and since we can't overclock it anyways, it's gonna fit perfectly in this build. Now, I went with the same motherboard from that PC as well because this is pretty much the only motherboard out there that has an all-white PCB. Whoa, what did I just crack? This is pretty much the only motherboard out there that has an all-white PCB. Finding an all-white motherboard these days is like finding a gamer girlfriend. Nearly impossible. I know all these parts work, so there's no need to test, although I should probably test the motherboard because I might have cracked something. Oh well, let's just go with the flow. We got BROLY on our side, so I think it'll be fine. All right. Now for RAM, these were the slowest 8GB sticks I could find in the office that are both white and RGB. Unfortunately, this motherboard doesn't support anything faster than 2666 megahertz, which is a shame because these are 3200 megahertz, so it's gonna end up underclocking itself. But like I said, this is an aesthetic build, so it doesn't really matter. Storage, we are going with the FireCuda 520, which is a 1TB M.2 SSD. Simply because all of my games and benchmarks are on here. That's why I keep reusing this. But the big problem with this is that the black PCB is gonna stick out like a sore thumb against this white motherboard. So what I did was I ordered a heatsink shield from Amazon, which will be here in a couple days, and I'm gonna paint over that in white. And that, my friends, is gonna blend in perfectly. Speaking of painting, actually, let's take this time to paint some of the parts of the case and the components before we place the motherboard inside the box. So this is the case we are building in, the Deepcool MacCube 310. It's a full ATX case with magnetic tempered glass panels. This is basically how the doors open up on the sides. That is very convenient, I love that. Now with that said, there is a few things I don't like about this case already. For starters, the black PSU shroud. And this is me nitpicking, but if you guys are gonna be making a white case, why not just give us a white PSU shroud? I mean, is it too much to ask for? Can't forget about the I/O shield of the GPU as well, so that needs to go. So this is what we're gonna use to paint our stuff. The Rust-Oleum Painter's Touch Ultra Cover Paint and Primer. In the past, I've been roasted on my painting skills because quite simply, I don't prep it the correct way, apparently. My response to that is, ain't nobody got time for that. I know there's a few extra steps needed before you apply the actual paint, but I like to keep things simple. And the only thing I do is wipe it down with a microfiber cloth to make sure there's no dust, dirt, or skin oil. And then I apply the paint. So after cleaning it, I apply the first coat, and then we wait around 30 minutes for it to dry up before applying the second coat, and then I repeat this process until I'm happy with the outcome. Typically anywhere between 4 to 6 coats, depending on what color I'm using and what color I'm painting over. Painting over darker colors usually end up needing more coats. And I think my work speaks for itself, and you guys can be the judge and let me know in the comments how these turn out at the end. All right, so in order for me to get a nice clean wrap on the power supply shroud, I'm gonna have to remove it from the case. And the only way I can do that is by drilling through these pop rivets that's holding the power supply shroud to the case. So it's gonna get a little messy. Front cover. So if you guys wanna know how to remove a pop rivet, all you have to do is use a drill bit that's pretty much the same size as the hole for the pop rivet. So as you guys can see, this one fits in perfectly. And what you do is you drill from the outside in and basically push it out from the outside. That's all there is to it. I'll show you guys an example real quick. Remember kids, safety first. And there you go. Successfully drilled a hole right through it, and the pop rivet came out from the other end. God damn. Yes. Thank you. You don't need the hard drive cage, so I guess you can get that out too. Might as well. Oh yes, that looks so much better with the white. All right, so since we removed the pop rivets from the case, we are gonna have to put some new ones on. And I ordered some assorted rivets from Amazon, along with this bad boy, the heavy duty riveter. And I'm gonna use this to pop these inside the case. And I've actually never done this before, but I watched a couple YouTube videos, so I think I'm a professional at this point. So let's go ahead and do that, I guess. I opened this the wrong way. God damn it. Oh, Jesus. Now they're all mixed up. All right, so I'm gonna start off with the middle hole. Here is my pop rivet. I'm gonna insert it inside my wrench. And then align the holes. And then just push it down. All right. You can see the pop rivet is inside. So that, ladies and gentlemen, was successful. Now we gotta do this 10 more times for the other holes. All right, so for fan configuration, we're gonna do intake for the front, and then exhaust for the top 2 fans, and then the rear fan as well. So the BROLY build is finally complete, and I'm pretty happy with the way it turned out. I think the modifications done to the case really paid off. In the end, I decided to cover the black borders from the tempered glass panel in white vinyl to add more consistency with the rest of the case, and it looks pretty damn clean if I say so myself. The BROLY sticker in the front of the case looks a bit tacky, but I couldn't just leave the front alone, so I thought adding a sticker is better than doing nothing to it. I'm really glad I went with the color white as the foundation of the build because it makes everything inside pop, especially the green and purple lighting, I feel like. But with that said, there were some small little details that really contributed to the overall aesthetics of this build. First off, the heatsink for the M.2 SSD. I did mention in the video that I picked up a black one and I spray painted it in white so that it blends in with the white motherboard. Also, the green thumb screws were a bit of a last minute add-on to add a bit more green inside the build, and to my surprise, it actually matches the rest of the green colors in the build, so that worked out. The white extension cables from Corsair were also a nice add-on. I highly recommend these, by the way, for anyone building a white themed PC, as they will replace the original black cables from the case. They literally make one for every cable. We got one for the USB 2 header, HD audio, all the tiny cables from the JFP1 connector on your motherboard, and they even make one for the USB 3 header. I think we can all agree that the custom backplate and covers from V1 Tech complete the look. I feel like without them, this wouldn't really be a BROLY build. The amount of effects you can set on these is ridiculous, and since they are all connected via RF reader, I can control them using just one remote. But the downside is that it will interfere with other RF devices. For example, I did add an RGB strip on the top from CableMod, and since that is controlled via remote also, it interferes with the V1 Tech parts as well, which is kind of annoying. I do have other minor gripes with the build, and this is just me nitpicking by the way, but I would have loved to see Deepcool make the tubing on the AIO white also. I personally think it would look way better since everything else is pretty much white already. Same goes for the PSU shroud. I would have loved to see a white one. That would have saved me a lot of time from having to mod the entire case. If it were up to me, I would have just gone with the Corsair 465X RGB case or the new 220T RGB Airflow and threw in an H100i RGB Platinum AIO and called it a day. But Deepcool did send these over for a PC build, so I did what I could with them. But everything else about this case is awesome. I absolutely love the magnetic tempered glass panels. It makes it really easy for me to access the components and the cables behind the case. I no longer have to deal with thumb screws, which is awesome. The integrated GPU stack bracket is brilliant, by the way, and I would love to see these implemented in more cases since GPUs are getting bigger and heavier. The integrated fan controller is also a really nice feature because it saved me in having to buy a separate USB hub to plug in the extra 3 fans up top. It's got great airflow, lots of cable management support, and overall a really great case to build in. Highly recommend it. Also, for those interested in seeing what the build looks like in different color combos, here is one in all RGB lighting. And here's one with all the lighting set to green, which I think actually looks better than the green and purple combo, to be honest. All in all, I'm very satisfied with the outcome of this build, and I feel like this PC would look sick in anyone's setup. I'm actually low-key kind of jealous that one subscriber gets to take this home. So with that said, it is time for the giveaway, courtesy of V1 Tech. If you guys want to enter for a chance to take home this beast, all you got to do is leave a comment below on what you liked most about this build and one thing you liked least about it. Leaving a like is not required, but it is highly appreciated if you do so. I'll announce the winners in a week or so on my Instagram or Twitter, so make sure you guys check back to see if you won. Everything mentioned and talked about in the build obviously will be linked down below. This is US, by the way, guys, only because if I ship this outside of the country, whoever wins is gonna pay a lot in import fees and custom fees, and also there's a good possibility that this can get damaged on the way. So that's why this is only US, unfortunately. But anyways, that's pretty much it. If you guys want to see more builds like this, I guess consider subscribing. I love your beautiful faces, and I will see you guys very soon in the next one.